Hey boys and girls. Today we're going to be talking about the artist Yayoi Kusama. She is sometimes called the Princess of Polka Dots, and that's because her work uses a lot of polka dots. So Yayoi Kusama is a Japanese artist who, like I said, is sometimes called the Princess of Polka Dots. She makes lots of different types of arts, paintings, sculptures, performance, and installations, but they all have one thing in common, and that is dots. So, like I said, she is from Japan, and right here on the map, you can see Japan where the arrow is pointing. You can see us over at the United States in the blue, and Japan is way on the other side of the globe. So when Yayoi Kusama was 10, she started to paint using these polka dots, and she created fantastic paintings using watercolors and pastels and oil paints. This is a pencil drawing that she did in 1939. It's a drawing of her mother, and you can see she used the polka dots even way back then. She loved drawing and painting, but her parents didn't really want her to be an artist. She, however, was determined. So even when she couldn't afford art supplies, she would go and use different things like mud and old sacks of flour to make her art. Eventually, Yayoi Kusama persuaded her parents to let her go to art school and study painting. And after she did that, she moved to New York to start painting. Now, she is an artist who is still alive and still working today. She is 91 years old, and she has since then moved back to Japan, but she is still working. And you can see she has a lot of fashion in her art too, and she likes to put herself into her art. So when a whole room is filled with a piece of art like this, it's called an installation. So in her artwork, Yayoi Kusama uses repetition a lot. Repetition is repeating one thing over and over and over again. So in this case, she's repeating her polka dots over and over and over. It's a little bit different than pattern. Like we know a pattern might be, red dot, purple dot, red dot, purple dot. But she's not doing that. She's not using a pattern. She's just using repetition, which is one of our principles of design. Here are Yayoi Kusama's pumpkins, which is what we are going to be focusing on. As you can see, her pumpkins have bigger dots on the outside edges and skinnier dots as they get kind of more into the folds of the pumpkin. This one is a 3D pumpkin. This is also a 3D pumpkin. This is a drawing, and the other was an installation. So our project is going to be using Google Drawings to create a pumpkin inspired by Yayoi Kusama. So step one is going to be to insert an image of a pumpkin. Then we're going to add dots to the image, again, bigger on the bigger areas and smaller on the insides, folded parts. And I will show you how to use duplication if necessary. So let's go to our Google Classroom. I'm going to click on classwork. I'm going to click on pumpkins. Oops, I spelled it wrong here. That's okay. Teachers make mistakes too. So I'm going to hit add or create and come down to drawings. This is what we've done for most of our projects so far, so I'm going a little bit fast with that. I can click on my drawing, and now I can get started. So the very first thing I'm going to want to add is my pumpkins. So I'm going to come over to the little mountains, which say insert image, search the web, and I'm going to just search pumpkin. Now I can use any one of these pumpkins that I want. I could also search pumpkin drawing if I wanted to. So there are a lot of different options here. I like this pumpkin, so I'm going to insert that. And we want it to be nice and big. Now, since this pumpkin is missing the edge, I want to make sure that I put that all the way to the edge of my paper. And I have the little bit of white here. I'm going to just drag that the whole way. And now I have a pumpkin that's wider and shorter, but it gives me nice good ridges to make my dots. So to make my dots, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click on shape, come down and find the circle shape. Now for my nice big dots, I'm just going to draw one. I'm going to make it black, so I'm going to come up to the paint bucket tool, fill it with black, and now I have a dot. Now doing that over and over and over and over again would take a lot of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it and then I'm going to press Control D, D for duplicate. And now you can see I have 2 dots. Okay, and I can do the same thing over and over and over again. I can press Control D as many times as I want to, and it will duplicate everything. And I'm keeping my spacing kind of the same. So I'm going to do that again, duplicate it a couple more times, and a couple more. And there we go. So I kept my bigger dots there. Now what I want to do is make smaller dots. So what I'm actually going to do is going to be a little tricky. I'm going to click on one of my dots, and then I'm going to hold the Shift key and click on the rest of my dots. If you do not hold the Shift key, it won't let you click on more than one at the same time, so make sure you hold Shift. Then I'm going to Control D, all that section. I'm going to turn it a little bit, and I'm actually going to shrink it down and make it a little bit smaller. Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing, so that's okay. I'm just going to hit the undo button, and here we go. I'm going to shrink that down a little bit, click it, turn it a little more for me, and there are some dots that I didn't have to spend another 2 minutes, 3 minutes making. I just did it that way, okay? So now I'm going to duplicate that, and I can do the same thing over again. Okay, so I got to remember to keep turning them, making them a little bit smaller as they go in. All right, and you get the idea. So I'm repeating my shapes, but I'm also going to make a little bit of a pattern using them on one side and the other. So my big dots were in the center, so I'm going to take these to the other side. So it goes big, medium, and then I would put my littlest ones there too. Alrighty, so I would do this for the rest of my pumpkin, which I'm not going to make you watch. And after I finish that, I'm going to go back to the Google Classroom and make sure I hit the Turn It In button and turn it in a second time. If you're not hitting both Turn It In buttons, I'm not getting it. Okay, so now that I've turned it in, I can get a grade and be all set. I hope you liked our lesson on Yayoi Kusama, and I can't wait to see what you did. Bye, boys and girls.